Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
How are you? Oh, yeah. You know what happens sometimes when I say hi to people, it looks like I see everyone, but I don't. I just came up here and I passed through that way and I saw my friends there, Rose and the family. I didn't know if I passed them, and I didn't see them. And I am now seeing almost everyone. I only saw a family there, the two sisters and one cousin, and I was chatting with them, only to come up here and I saw Rose and the family and the rest of other people. And I'm seeing you right now as you are looking at me. My dear friends, so how are you again?
Great.
I'm good. Now, by Tuesday, I will be 4 years at St. Joseph Church. I came here 19th July 2018. So I'll be 4 years. And I'm trying to go through the season in order to help me accustom myself to the situation. One of the seasons I love so much is the summer. Because summer, apart from the fact that it has good weather similar to that of Nigeria, there is a lot of gatherings, traveling, barbecues, and I love food, right? Now, one thing that is very unique is that you see families gathering together, inviting friends, people going out for lunch, going out for dinner. And most times I've been fortunate to get a lot of invitations. And so what happened is that people keep asking me, Father Vitus, what kind of things do you like? What kind of wine do you like? What kind of food do you eat? Unfortunately, I don't know any kind of food. I will say everything is good. And once I come, I will take everything. That means that whenever you want to play host to someone, you would want to host the person very well, and you may need to dig and find out what the person likes so much. And so there is always preparation. Today we saw that Abraham played hosts to strangers without knowing that they are gods. And we saw in Gospel how Martha played host to Jesus. The issue about the case of Abraham has always reminded me of a regular story that I grew up hearing. And what is this story? It is the story about God who wanted to be a guest, a rich man wanted to host God. He had never seen God. And so he felt that his money will always get God to come to his house. I don't know how he got contact with God. That is the story. And God had appointment to visit him as a guest. And so this rich man started preparing, getting everything set and ready. And they have time. He invited few friends and family. He was bragging that God is going to visit him today. And so when exactly the time that God said he will come. And the man knew that God could come at the perfect time. And so he was ready, getting everything set to receive God, and was ready to brag about it. But something happened. At that moment, it was time for God to come. There was a doorbell. The doorbell went. And so he went to the door to receive God with all kinds of imagination, how God will be very flamboyant and how God will be dressed up. Unfortunately for him, he saw a homeless guy on the door. And the homeless guy was like, "Excuse me, sir, can I come in? It's like something is going on here. I have been very hungry." He said, "What? What is going on?" And in order not to get God upset, he threw the guy away. So they started still waiting for God. After an hour, God did not show up. 2 hours, God did not show up. And he picked up his phone, remember that is the story, and called God. And God did not take the call. And God did not return the call. The next day, God called him. And the guy looked and said, "Oh, God is calling me." And he was so upset. And immediately he said, "Hello, God, how dare you? I thought you as very responsible. How can you disappoint me?" And God calmly said, "Come on, what are you talking about? I made the appointment. I was the homeless guy you threw away from your house." And the guy said, "Oh my goodness. Oh, how can you could have come that way? You shouldn't have tricked me." And God says, "I can come in any way I want to you. You wanted to host me as a guest, but you cannot tell me how I can come to your house." My dear friends, the rich man got frustrated and got disappointed because he was waiting for a man he does not know who he is. He needed to dig like most of us will dig when you are inviting people for dinner or for lunch or for barbecue. He needed to find more who God is and how he can find God instead of preparing all the while to receive God without knowing who God is. Abraham in the first reading saw saw people, and he wanted to be nice. He never knew he was receiving angels. In the gospel, it's a different scenario altogether. The gospel took a little bit different dimension in playing host to God. In attending to God every day, we need to set our priorities right. Martha felt that running about was better than giving Jesus attention at the time of the visit. Mary, the sister, was listening to Christ and was giving her attention. Martha felt her role was superior and more important and has to complain to Jesus, who has to let her know she is doing a great job, but unfortunately was not what was needed at that time. Mary was listening to the word of God, which is spiritual, while Martha was concerned more of the physical. Remember, both of them are very important, but Mary chose the better part, and her choice and its benefits cannot be taken away from her. My dear friends, besides, it is important we understand the other circumstances surrounding the timing of this visit of Jesus to Martha. Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem and seems to be overwhelmed with pain. And so he needs attention at that moment. And Mary seems to have checked this out very well. She has diagnosed the situations and has already known which one out of many options he has to be applied. And so he saw that Jesus needed attention and gave Jesus the attention he needed. Until you understand this, and this condition and the mood of Jesus at the time of that visit, That is only when we can also, beyond the spiritual aspect of listening to the word of God that Mary did, we'll also understand at that moment Jesus was so sad. He was in pains. He needs someone to give him attention. And so Mary was able to see that and was giving him the attention. But Martha was concerned with running about. What he was doing was okay, but he didn't set her priorities right. So both of them are playing a role, but Martha did not set her priorities well. We may end up doing all the services and hosting God every day of our lives by being nice to people and doing some good works of mercy without giving God attention for direction. We need to give God attention while doing the work of God. It is important we know that we can forget, it is easy to forget the God of work while doing the work of God. We need to have focus to know what is needed at any point in time. Sometimes, my dear friends, knowing ourselves, why, knowing what we can do, and at the same time, knowing what we can offer, can help us in keeping our focus as regards making our priorities right. I want to share a personal story with you. When I came here, like I said, on Tuesday I'm going to be 4 years. I've gone through a whole lot of training in the seminary. Part of them is getting to be aware of who I am, what I can offer, the kind of talents I have. And so, when I came here 4 years ago, I have a lot of difficulties. I met wonderful people like you. You were so encouraging. You were so receptive. You were like, oh my God, what can I do for you? But I have a lot of problems. Number one is the fact that I came from a different cultural situation. I had more the problem of accent. I was struggling, how could I fit in? No friends and families. I don't know anyone from Adam, nowhere, I don't know anyone. Everyone was a stranger, besides being friendly to me. To help you understand the kind of things I went through, I want to give you a shot of how my culture looks like. Early this year, I have someone I went to bless a house for at Baldwin. I went there to bless a house. They got a new house, and so they invited me. They told, one of the parishioners is related to the family, and they connected me, and I went to Baldwin to bless the house for them. And I'm coming back after finishing the house blessing. I went to Valley Street, direct to Valley Street, to the Church of the Blessed Sacrament. The pastor there is a Nigerian. And so, you know what I did? I just drove to the Church of the Blessed Sacrament, stood in front of the door, pulled out my phone, and said, hello, Father Lawrence, I'm in front of your door, without any prior information. And Father Lawrence said, oh, that's nice. Well, unfortunately, I just stepped out. Just hold on 1 minute. I'm going to get someone to get the door for you. But I'm not around in the house. I said, okay, that's fine, but I'm very hungry. I need to eat. And he said, okay, when you get the door, go to the kitchen. If you find something, help yourself. If you don't have something, open the fridge. Whatever you can get. That's okay. I'm so sorry, I'm not around. And I said, okay, come to you later. And I went in. helped myself, relaxed, and started coming home. Now I want to ask you a question. Can you imagine yourself hearing the doorbell and then having the door and you see me and I will say, "Hi, how are you? Father Vitus, what is going on?" I said, "I'm here, I'm hungry." Can you imagine that? But that's my culture. And if I have to live like that, I wouldn't know that it is wrong. If I have been living like that, by now I would have been dead. Someone would have shot me. But let me tell you something. If Father Lawrence found out that I went to Baldwin and didn't stop by at the Valley Stream, he would be very upset with me. He would say, "Oh, you came all the way to Baldwin and passed my house without seeing me. What kind of brother are you? Get out of my phone." He will fight with me. That's my culture. Can you imagine that? That was the background I came here. And so I started struggling. I didn't know how to get into trouble because I don't know what I was gonna do. I would get into trouble. Because if I barge into you like that, you're gonna call the police and say, "Oh, Father Vitus, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna call the police on you." But that's the culture I came from. But when I came here, I noticed that there are a whole lot of differences. I'm gonna give you another instance again. In my culture, the best thing you can do to a woman is to appreciate her when she has finished dressing well. Whether it is your mother or a stranger, you need to appreciate her. If my mother dresses up to go to church every Sunday and you don't say, "Oh, Mom, you're looking so beautiful. Make a step for me," and your mom will make some step. And you say, "Good, that's my mom. Let's go." And then when you go on, so you need to appreciate and make some comments. But if you do that here, you get into trouble. Serious trouble. But then if you don't appreciate a lady, the lady will be so sad that, "Come on, it's like I'm not looking good." He will go back and undress. Because nobody is on street, nobody is commenting her. My dear friends, that's the culture I came from. Imagine if I had been commenting on people's dressing and all this, by now I would have been in prison. But then I look at myself and see, I need to succeed, I need to survive. So I look, because I have gone through some trainings, I know what I have, I know my talents. I now began to work on them to see which one I have to drop, to what extent I have to use one, to what extent I have to get others, so that I can focus without being in trouble. And you see where I am today after 4 years. And I don't think I'm doing very badly.
No, good job.
Right? Am I doing so badly? Good job. Thank you. Because I'm able to know my talents. We need to know our talents. We need to know what you are made of. So that you know what to bring on the table. So that you can choose your priorities very well. To focus on the God of work and the work of God. And that is why we have this opportunity of call and give back. Sign on and see who you are and how to focus. Because every day we meet God. We need to know when to give God attention with what we have and our talents. We need to choose our priorities well. God visits us every day in our human beings and in our friends, in strangers. We need to be nice. We need to do the work of God. At the same time, we need to find time for God. Until we know who we are, until we know what our talents are, we now know when and which to apply at the one moment. So that we don't become matter where we should be merry, and become merry where we should be matter. My dear friends, let's continue to work together. Let's continue to be nice to one another. Let's continue to seek time for God. And let us continue to be aware that every day in our lives, every moment in our lives, God visits us. And we need to attend to him. And at the same time, we need to find time to listen to him.